All right, what do we have here today? So today we're going to be fitting a Wehrli custom fab intake horn. Should be pretty straightforward on how to install. And then we are installing this MomentumHD air intake kit for the big truck. So what do I mean by the big truck? That's right, the big truck's in the shop today. I got the fan on there, cooling it down. It is a blistering, whatever that word is. 100 and something, 115 today, 105, 110. I don't know, it's freaking hot. So I got the fan on it. Trying to cool the truck down a little bit. But yeah, we're gonna install this stuff in this video, and we'll get it all dialed in. The intake should be pretty easy, but the intake horn is a little bit more involved, but it's not that bad either. Without further ado, thanks for tuning in, thanks for watching, and yeah, let's get started. Let's do some unboxing here of the intake. You know, looks like there's some good stuff in here. Here's the big main air box. That's a pretty big sucker right there. Put that over here for now. See what else we got in here. Looks like we've got a custom air horn. And then we've got the filter itself. Oh man, this is a big guy. I'm having trouble picking it up. But yeah, dang, that's a big old air filter there. So that'll be good. And then we probably got some odds and ends and miscellaneous instructions. What else we got in here? Some clamps. There we go. And that's the unboxing. So we will get after it with that. But first, this Wehrli custom fab intake horn's got to go on. So we'll get that on first. That'll take, I think, most of the time. And then that intake should be a walk in the park. Alrighty. All right, so the first thing I did to start things off is I removed the negative battery terminals off of the battery. This one is kind of back in the back. It's kind of hard to get to, but you can do it. It's not a big deal. I took this cover off, so in case you're wondering why that looks weird, that's that way. And if you're looking at this wire, I did not wire this. I don't like the way that it's wired, but it works. That is for my amp power steps. You can see the box right there for those. So the dealer installed those, so I'm not messing with it. It works, and maybe someday I'll remove that, because this is where the auxiliary switches go. The wiring harness goes into that, so I will have to move that someday, but for right now I'm gonna leave it as is. So with the battery disconnected, we're going to come over here. Here's the factory air box. I'm going to start by removing some of these worm gear clamps off of the filter assembly. Here's the mass airflow sensor. It says to disconnect it, but I'm going to take it out, and I'm going to leave it connected, just because anytime you disconnect a sensor for the engine just doesn't like it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to leave it connected. The battery's disconnected, so it shouldn't really mess with anything, but I'm going to leave it connected and just pull the screws out here, and that will enable us to get in. I believe we got to take this bolt out, and I believe there's a couple others. I might even have to take this top lid off to get to those. But if you look all the way over here, this is where that intake elbow is going to go. So we got a bunch of stuff over here that we got to contend with as well. That's why I had the big fan on here, because it is a hot day and the engine is hot. So I wanted to cool this down as much as I could before I started working on it. All right, so let's get after it. Well, we have gotten the first part of the intake out. You can see that the intake horn is kind of out. And if we take a peek down in here, this is where the turbo lives, and you can actually see the PCV, the crankcase line. This is the line that comes from the crankcase right here, right into the intake. You can kind of see in there that it is leaking just a little bit of oil, but it's not bad. Some guys do the PCV reroute, which I may do down the line, but to be honest with you, the PCV reroute vents to atmosphere. Not only is that against EPA regulations, but it also makes your truck stinky. So there's that. So I'm not doing it, at least for right now. Okay, so here we have the main parts. We got the intake tube. Here's the elbow with the resonator. This diaphragm, if you look in there, it's just a little muffler, so it makes everything quiet. And then here's our air box. Now, one thing we do have to pull off with the air box is we have to pull these grommets off. This won't stand up here very nicely. There we go. So we got to pull these guys off right there and right there. And then I believe we have to take that one off, but I'm not sure. So we'll check. All right, and these grommets, they go in these holes right here and right here. So just going to replace those little guys in there. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to remove the this piece, which is the intake horn. If we sneak back there, we can see that bolt right there. It's pretty easy to get to, but the other one on this side is right there. So we got to be pretty sneaky. I've seen some folks remove this bracket and then take the whole AC unit and kind of move it to the side. That you have to undo the serpentine belt. I might do that, but I'm going to try and be sneaky. But before I do all that stuff, I got to pull this line off of this hose while it's still nice and firmly attached. That way it's not a pain in the neck to remove later. All right, well, we got that intake elbow out. You can see there's the nice turbo inlet there. Looks pretty sick. And yeah, we did have to move the AC compressor out of the way. That was a pain in the neck. Actually, you see that bolt right there on the compressor? I had to cut the head of it off with a body saw and get kind of crazy with it to be able to get a socket on it so I could remove it. This is the intake horn. Let's go compare the two to see what they look like. All right, externally they don't look too different. They're very much the same. The hoses are in the same place for the PCV, and when you take a look down in there, you can see they're both pretty well shaped. The main difference between this one and the Wehrli is when we flip them over this way. And what you can see here is the size difference. Now, this size and this size is the same, but these are considered map width enhancing slots, and they actually allow better flow into the turbo. And the downside to these is you hear a lot of turbo whistle. So the main reason that this is here and neck down is so you don't hear that whistle. You lose a little bit of performance, not much, but on this one you gain a little bit of performance, but you get to hear that nice turbo whistle noise. So we're gonna put the O-ring on here. We got two studs to put actually in or on the turbo itself, and then these bolts will actually cinch everything down. So we're gonna get that done right now. Ooh-wee, that was a doozy. All right, you can see in there, you know, I got the stud on and the nut, and then I got that one on there. Next thing to do is to put the AC compressor back where it's supposed to be, put the belt on, and then we can go along with putting the AFE intake on right here. All right, let's go. Let's get after it. As you can see, I got the airbox in. The airbox is held in by 2 grommets in the back, and then there's this one bolt right here that I got to get on. I believe that's a 10 mil, so I'm going to get that on there, tighten it down, and we should be good to go with the airbox. Okay, next to go in is this big giant filter, and it just slides in just like that. Now this lip I need to press it into here, and there is supposed to be a band clamp just like this T-bolt clamp. There's supposed to be a big one, but that was missing in my kit, so I'm gonna have to call them and have them send one out to me, because that is supposed to clamp down onto this. For the short term, I think if I wedge that in there, it's gonna have enough seal to just get me by. It's gonna be no big deal. This is the one that really matters as far as like airflow and things like that. This just seals the filter off from the hot engine bay. So I'll call them on Monday, which is tomorrow, and get a new one of these, and that'll be that. And there we have it. Excuse me. And there we have it. The AFE Momentum intake kit installed. I still have to connect the batteries over there and over there, start it up and do a test fire. We'll see if she makes any more noise than stock. I'm assuming yes. So we'll start it up, and then we'll take it for a test drive. One thing you'll notice here is that this kind of comes on and off pretty easy. It's the little seal. What I'm going to do is, it doesn't say in the instructions, I don't think, but I'm going to get some crazy glue, kind of crazy glue that down on the edges, just so that it doesn't have a chance to pop up and fall in the engine bay anytime. So anyway, that's all there is to it. A lot of sweat and a lot of curse words later. I got that guy out of there. That was tough. On the 2020s, this bolt, that bolt back there on the back side of that compressor, let's see if there it is. See, I had to chop it off. That is right underneath this AC line, and it makes it gosh darn almost impossible to get that bolt off in there. So it took me a lot of work. If I would say on a skill level, that is a skill level 9 to be able to figure that out. Everything else is a skill level 3 or 2.5. Very easy. But I lost 2 sockets down there, an extension. I did not have a good time doing that. So anyway, without further ado, like I said, I'm going to crazy glue that sucker on there, connect the battery, and start her up. All right, let's see what she sounds like. Well, I don't think that was an accurate representation of what it's going to sound like, but did maybe sound like I heard some turbo spool where I didn't hear before. But what we'll do is we'll go take a test drive and see what it sounds like on the road. All right, so in conclusion of the Wehrli Fab L5P intake horn elbow for the turbo, and the Momentum AFE HD intake. I'd say install was, other than the Wehrli or the bolts for that intake horn, man, those bolts were kind of a pain in the neck. I'll be honest with you. That took this skill level from a 3 to about a 9. Yeah, when you gotta bust out a body saw and break off a bolt just to get to where you need to be, that's not a good thing. So so long story short, would have been a 3. The intake, AFE intake, is definitely a 2.5 at best. It's very easy to install, but that intake elbow is a little more challenging. So it took me 4 hours to do the total install, maybe a little bit less for both of those. But other than the AFE kit missing that big band clamp, everything was really easy for that. Driving impressions. Honestly, it's not any louder than stock, and if it is, I can't tell. The air conditioning is gonna, overpower anything. You might be able to hear the engine just a little bit more, but I mean, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say 9 out of 10 people won't even notice the difference. I really did it for fuel economy and drivability. I know that my truck, or these trucks, are a little sluggish down low, and that's why a lot of people put the pedal commander on them from Banks, and I hear that's a really good mod, but I feel like that's just a band-aid for like what's really wrong and a lack of airflow to the turbo. So my driving impressions just right now, I would have filmed it, but there's literally nothing for you guys to see. But I do notice that the throttle tip in a little bit is a lot more responsive. So I can definitely feel more boost come in early, and it feels like it's got a little more bottom end kind of push or grunt to it. So that's exactly what I was expecting. Maybe on the top end there might be a little bit more power. I don't know. I never data log boost, so I don't know if it's making any more boost or anything like that. So those 2 mods are down on my truck. Realistically, I just wanted to get a little bit better throttle response and a little bit better fuel economy for the long run. So I won't be able to tell the fuel economy until dune season next year, because that's when I tow, and that's where fuel economy really means the most to me. So we'll see how that goes. Unloaded, it seems to be doing really well, but this truck always did really well unloaded, right around 20, 21, 22. But I know I'm rambling right now, but the next mod for that truck is I do have the 5-inch cat back, or whatever, filter back, or whatever that dang catalyst thing is, whatever they're calling that. It's a 5-inch cat back exhaust, so it doesn't get rid of anything. There's no deleting, there's none of that. EPA is going to be happy, but it is that 5-inch, and it does have that nice tip, and it does kick out to the side rather than straight out to the back. Because I'll be honest with you, I hook up my hitch, and that exhaust pipe just burns my leg. It's so freaking hot. So I can't wait to get that 5-inch exhaust on there and kick it out to the side rather than kick it right back onto my leg as I'm working on my trailer there. So that should be, well, July 4th is coming up right around the corner, so I don't know if I'll be able to do that next weekend, but that'll be the next video for the truck. So keep an eye out for that. We'll do an install with that, and that's an AFE 5-inch exhaust back as well. So check that out. All right, well, thanks everybody for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. I appreciate you. Ring that bell so you get notifications when I post more videos. Like I said in my last video, I'm gonna be posting a lot more videos here pretty regularly. I got behind, and that's just because I had some family stuff going on, but I hope to get the ball rolling again. Definitely more stuff coming on the Silverado 3500. Definitely more stuff coming on the Infiniti M56. You guys have not seen it yet, but I'm going to bring in my 2002 Silverado, which is a sick truck. I've got some work done to do on that, and then when all of that's done, the big project, my old 1989 300ZX, is going to be LS swapped. That is one to watch out for because that's going to be very, very cool. All right. Well, thanks everybody. We'll see you later. Thanks again for watching. See ya.